Well, the conversation still continues. We're still talking about 2027 and an agitation for political consensus, where the political pendulum swings this time is quite important to not a few Nigerians. And of course, my guests are still in the studio. But remember that you can always be part of this conversation. All you need to do is like, share, and comment on our pages on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and as well as TikTok. The handle still remains at LJE Nigeria. Well, before we went on that break, Comrade Eragbe was, concluding on his thoughts on what he believes is an even share of power in Nigerian political space. But I'll come to you, Comrade Splendour, and I would just ask this question. Like I did say to you prior to this time, Nigerians are looking for survival. They are looking for a messiah, someone who they believe that if they give their votes to, it would eventually turn out to be worth their time. So this agitation has been on for a while now. And that is one of the reasons that bettered the Northern Coalition. So even when the South North Forum, the objective of the South North Forum seemed to be against that of the Northern Coalition, not a few still believe that the Northern Coalition has got some rights and, of course, understand the nitty-gritty and maybe, let's say, the situation of Nigerians. Some say the Northern Coalition, or whatever they are cooking, might be the best for Nigeria at the moment. What do you think?
Well, like I said before, the northern part of the country should be patriotic enough to support the southern agenda this period, because like we from the opposition, we are fighting the incumbent leadership, which is the APC. And if we must get it right, the president of Nigeria from the APC is from the southern extraction. Political calculation should give right to, since the incumbent is from the south, the opposition should narrow down their ticket to the south.
Even when Nigerians are finding it so hard at the moment.
No.
Even when
Nigerians are,
the hunger level in Nigeria has risen beyond normal.
That is the reason the opposition is coming together to say enough of this. Like my colleague was talking about, the removal of subsidy, that is the right thing to do. Yes, I said it's the right thing. But the question is, where is the proceed from the removal of the subsidy? Where has it gone to? That is the question. Where is it? Because we were all thinking that if the subsidy is removed, that it was going to be plowed back to the economy so that it will benefit Nigerians. But we are not seeing it. Look at the dollar against Naira. Where was it before this government took over? Everything is skyrocketed. For me, I don't think that Mr. President has done enough in this country. I'm a very factual person. I don't think Mr. President has done enough for this country. And that is why we are saying that the opposition should look inward to see the best candidate that can come out from the southern extraction and then take the poverty level of this country to a better and more desired condition where our life will be bettered. And I want to be specific about it. You see, I've been following, the activities of Mr. Peter Obi for some time now. He has always been talking about production, production, move away from consumption, go into production. Nigeria, as we speak today, is all about consumption, consumption, consumption. What do we produce? Look at the number of Nigerians. Every year, universities, tertiary institutions keep on graduating Nigerians. Where are the job? We don't have the job. After serving Nigeria for 1 year, after your youth service, you come back to be a Kikeda Pem driver, Okada rider, and all this and all that. Because we don't have the industries that are functional, that can absorb these young Nigerians. Everybody must not be a politician. In a country where things are working very well, you can be in the private sector, you still earn your living.
Your thoughts are the exact reasons why we are seeing the composition of political gladiators coming together to say enough is enough, coming together to form what they believe is a northern coalition. And in this coalition are members, well-known political leaders from the South, inclusive of the former governor of Anambra State and the former presidential candidates of Labour Party, a party which you belong to. In the same coalition are former governors like Rotimi Amechi and a number of others from the entire South. Do you think that they are coming together to have a direction is ill-conceived? Given all of these things you have talked about, do you not also think they are seeking to rescue the soul of Nigerians from what they have described as an abysmal performance of President Bola Tinubu?
Well, they are coming together is a welcome development. But in politics, if you are coming together and you want to achieve a collective goal, which is emancipating Nigerians from the shackles of penury, abject poverty, they should put aside personal interest. Because all of these political gladiators that are coming together, they all have personal interest. And you know for sure that there is no way the coalition that is being formed will produce more than one presidential candidate. They can never produce two presidential candidates. So what we are saying is that if that must, take place, they should look inward and present to Nigerians a candidate that is sellable, a candidate that is marketable, a candidate that Nigerians can look at and say, this candidate is better than the incumbent. And I'm saying, I'm not here to paint words. I just told you that from 2023, we engaged in a general election. I was running in the state level at the governorship position, while His Excellency Peter Obi was at the national level going for the presidency. And I told you here that I followed keenly his ideology, his belief, and I think that is what Nigeria and Nigerians actually need for now. Because if Nigeria produce or elect a president that can look into our industries, like my colleague has rightly pointed out here, that are moribund, revive them and make them functional and begin to produce, like His Excellency Peter Obi said. He said, we must make sure that this country is moved away from consumption to production. And government will have a way of, patronizing locally produced goods. Take, for instance, automobile. Federal government, state government, each time they want to change their vehicles, they go to patronize the foreign good made. forgetting the local one. Like that, what we have innocent. I learned the other day that another one has come up in Enugu, producing vehicles. If we begin to say, okay, let us patronize our locally manufactured goods, that will give, that will encourage more people to go into production. Go to Aba, for instance. You will be marveled at what is happening there, textile-wise. See what they are producing. Government can say, if we have a very, rational leadership from the presidency, they can say, okay, let us invest more in this area so that we can produce more for our people.
Now, speaking of rationality in leadership, and I will ask Comrade Eragbe this question. Speaking of rationality, like Comrade Splendour had made mention of, he has also said, or perhaps given a thumbs up, when he said it's a welcome and development for political bigwigs, gladiators, to come together seeking the emancipation of Nigerians from what they believe is the shackles of bad governance under the current administration or the APC-led federal government of, President Bola Tinubu. So when he says that, why then is a South North Patriotic Forum agitating otherwise?
Okay, thank you. See, there is I'll give you a scenario as to what should be done differently now. In 2013 to 2015, when the PDP was in power, the opposition political parties and their leadership, led ably then by today still President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to oust that government from power. So the coalition, under a coalition, so it was an alliance, a coalition of political parties and leadership and agitation that removed President Goodluck Jonathan and brought in President Muhammadu Buhari for 8 years. But there was a fundamental error in that agitation, which is what might play out now. What was that error? There were no stringent policy frameworks for how the decay they saw. Remember, I began to talk about the decay from 1960 up to present day as to why I said the foundation was destroyed. Though I didn't finish that discourse, to say President Tinubu himself truly had to destroy that foundation, ordinarily, if we need to make progress. But what needs to be done in Nigeria is, after this coalition, for instance, the coalition should have a policy trust and framework for the rescue of this country. What are the issues? Economic issues. Political issue, you can deal with that, because they came under a coalition and removed Jonathan under the banner of APC, but APC has not fared well to date. Where President Jonathan left the economy is, you can't compare that in 2015 to date. They are worlds apart. So what that means is, what was wrong, or what is still wrong, is there were no stringent plans as to how the opposition felt they could deliver on the money if they ever got power. So they got power for the purpose of getting power. It was all about power mongering. So we get to power, let's go. When President Buhari came, for the first 6 months, he couldn't appoint ministers. It then means that struggle was not about repositioning the economy and the people. It was about for the sake of power. And they got power and they slept on power. Even the 8 years of that administration laid the final foundation for the destruction that, except if care is not taken, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will end up finally destroying the entire space. Because he only has 2 years, 2026 and 2027, May 29, when the next president was sworn in, to prove, are you with me, the reasons why Nigerians should trust APC or him. Nigerians don't believe in him now. This is June.
How so?
I'm coming. I'm not talking of those in. Yeah, also because this is a game of number. The mass of the people are hungry. in Nigeria. The mass of the people slots have not improved. The subsidy that was removed, even like I said, there was need to remove it such that some other things could truly happen and fix that part. It came with a lot of adverse effect. Now, price of goods and services skyrocketed by 3 times. The people's salary marginally increased by 1.5 or 2, because minimum wage from 30,000 became 70,000. That's 210%. Now, but prices of goods and services tripled or quadrupled. All every other parameters varied progressively beyond just the arithmetic progression of the salary. Now, if you look at the salary, how many people are any salaries in Nigeria? Not up to 0.5% of the people of this country are on salaries. So it then means the 70,000 or whatever increment that was made by government has no impact.
So isn't that the main reason why we should have forums like yours, the South North Patriotic Forum, collaborates with the Northern Coalition? Because for some Nigerians, what we should be seeking for, if we are looking for a credible alternative, it's collaboration.
I said something.
Shouldn't you be looking at collaboration between these groups?
Yeah, I said something earlier. Thank God for the emphasis you are giving to it now. I said this struggle is multifaceted. It's stepwise. The first item in the struggle is to politically zone the power to southern Nigeria. That's the first item in the struggle. There are many elements in this struggle. And I said the second in that struggle will now be micro-zoning. And I gave an in-depth analysis. Now, and I said there are multifaceted components of that struggle that we have to now do. The reason for the coalition. The reason for the coalition is for the welfare and well-being of Nigeria and Nigerians. The progress and development. Not for the sake of power-mongering.
So you believe that the Northern Coalition is there for power mongering?
No. The point
you believe that it's an ideology coming to take away power from the South to the point I'm taking with all of it has to some individual interest.
Let me say what I'm saying. The point I'm saying with this to say the agitation coming is good. Because Nigerians feel the APC government under President Tinubu is not performing. Are you with me? That is why Nigerians... I said something earlier that President Tinubu himself, as a politician and incumbent, only has 2 years to prove himself worthy of vote, if at all, in 2027. That said, I'm not saying those coming together, I'm in the opposition. I'm in the South North Progress Forum, right? And that's all of us in the opposition coming together in this coalition. Are you getting it? We are not just coming this time for the sake of power mongering. Because even if you say power to southern Nigeria, which is good for the reason I mentioned, then the question is who gets it, fine. Anybody can get it in southern Nigeria. So after getting it, what next? That is the question. Are you with me? So our agitation goes beyond, in as much as we have agreed, now we are beginning to agree, and other people are agreeing with us, is zone to the south, which is good. 2, why the power is going there, we sit down. Are you getting it? We already have the policy document. I have read out some items from that document to you and to the world to say when power is eventually zoned and the would-be president that we don't know yet, that we are going to support to emerge in 2027. Are you with me? We will be behind that man or woman to ensure that this policy framework for economic repositioning, for job creation, for power generation, for refineries, are you getting functionality, for power sector revampment, are you getting all of this agricultural mechanization, industrialize, all of this in the next 4 years should show forth house, improve salaries. What people earn today, 70,000, it doesn't take you anywhere. Are you with me, man?
So these are the catalysts.
So these are the things that we sparse that man that we are going to give our support to in southern Nigeria for. Are you with me? For 2020. As you engage us further, but for now, the essence of this is to look at the coalition. To look at the coalition for 2027, which we and support, which we are part of. Are you with me? Now, the process of building consensus, we are right, because the essence of coalition is that one man or one woman is going to be the beneficiary of that struggle. The same way, are you getting it? So by the time all these coalition struggles are crystallized, we'll be left with one man that the entire coalition, northern, southern people will support for 2027 presidency. Not minding that we are going to have many southern presidential candidates from APC, PDP, Labour Party, all the parties. This coalition is eventually going to zero in on one man. Are you with me? Whose vice president will come from the north? So we are going to be very interested in that vice president who will have capacity. Are you with me? To support that man we are going to zero on in southern Nigeria, who will have that capacity. Are you with me?
Now, looking at the presidency,
We will be behind these people, want to go and win election.
now looking at it from the southern perspective, and then we still have a President Tinubu at the helm of affairs as of today, who probably has 2 more years to serve, and then we approach the 2027 election, and he may or he may not return to office. Well, that is for Nigerians to decide. But are there measurements or perhaps things that your forum has put together, that would make your forum decide whether or whether not to support the current candidacy of President Ahmed Tinubu if given the ticket?
Thank you. What we have said amongst ourselves is, as much as this is a political struggle, we are almost apolitical when it comes to that matter until that time. What do I mean? President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the incumbent president of Nigeria. Now, when we come to that point in 2027, as we build up that process and all these parameters, are you getting? There's going to be an assessment. This assessment will look at you. How well have you been able to handle this office when you had your opportunity? For instance, because he has the privilege of being the president now. Other persons don't have that privilege. So we have our criteria, which we are going to set out. Hope you are following. Now, it's going to be a broad-based issue as at that time. There are going to be mock elections, mock zoning, mock primaries. Are you getting it? So that we build consensus amongst these presidential candidates in southern Nigeria, ultimately that we are going to adopt one. It's possible we adopt President Tinubu. It's possible we adopt Peter Obi. Are you with me? It's possible we adopt Governor Amechi. We don't know. It's possible my brother here will contest and will adopt him. But certainly, when we roll out those measures, when we engage that process, and we come to the point where one man is the man we desire to be the president for the next 4 years, we'll be sure that history will record our participation positively on the part of history.
And this will be based on, the assessment will be based on capabilities of the potential candidates.
Are you setting in? You're not. Many factors are going to. So, give our demand. We are going to come up with our clear demand. Are you getting it? That's why I say we are going to come up with a roadmap. You see, I must say it here today. Maybe I use the privilege now. The old generation, when I mean our fathers who have ruled us to dates, we will tell them that their time has virtually come to an end politically, ideally. So the last of them, by the grace of God, is President Tinubu, who will now have to prove himself, are you with me, worthy of the Nigerian youth support, ideally. I don't want to take, are you getting what I'm saying? But we are saying probably 2027 might be the last time in Nigeria above maybe 70 years old will have the privilege to preside over Nigeria on the grounds of age.
But the Constitution does not give provisions for an age.
It's about numbers. It's about numbers. Eragbe Anslem has the capacity to preside over Nigeria. Splendour Oko Eze here has the enough capacity to be president.
But looking at
what to make it president is how much followership, how much vote can we give him?
Looking at possible aspirants,
those parameters.
Looking at possible aspirants, from the APC, would likely see the president Tinubu returning, you getting the ticket of the APC, and then Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president of Nigeria, is also on the other side, aspiring. Former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, it's not clear whether or not he's aspiring or if he will formally join the Northern Coalition and made with an article.
He has said it. He's running.
It's running. You can take that from our side. It's running. It's no risk. Yeah.
So we have different people who would probably possibly come out in the next stream. So when you look at the age, a president, Tinubu, is above 75.
The former, like you said, it will be above 75.
The former vice president by 2027 is also above 75. Apparently, the youngest of them all might be, just might, that's if we don't see younger president coming. But for now, might possibly be Peter Obi.
64.
So when you look at all of this and look at their capabilities, their strengths, and what they have done while they occupied public offices, you said here that Bola Ahmed Tinubu during his time as governor did well and created a platform for Lagos to thrive today. And you also mentioned of how he took the bull by the horn by scrapping out subsidy. He also talked about the new tax reforms he has implemented on power and the electricity bill, which the reform in electricity sector, which he has also signed. All of these are not scores for him. When you look at an article, for instance, during his time as a vice president, he also performed well, like going by records. Looking at Peter Obi during his time as the governor of Anambra State was also said to have performed well. So what would form your assessment? What exactly would form your decision, the decision of your coalition on whom to support? Because I still insist that not for a few persons, rather than having different coalitions countering themselves, probably we should see a fuse between the Northern Coalition and then the South North Coalition.
Yeah. Thank you. Quickly, the assessment I talked about, these are leaders who have performed in their respective rights, depending on the offices they occupied at the time and what they did. Their records are available for anybody to see. So they are comparative. This is a comparative analysis. But for us, because they have all served, we have a policy framework we have laid out, which will be made public to the world to see, the basis for which there would be Southern president for 2027. They would be. Because like I said, we don't know who he is. We don't know. But many factors are going to come in. Part of the factors I read out, I say first, during the micro-zoning structure, we look at these 3 zones. Are you with me, ma?
Yeah.
Which of these zones has not produced president? It is one factor you cannot run away from. We need to put that into consideration and score it. That's one. Like I said, authoritatively, the Southeast zone has not produced the president of Nigeria in a democracy.
And the Northeast zone. No, we're looking here to the produce.
No, let's zero in on South. Let's zero in on South, because like we said, in our own coalition, South North, we are not going to sit here and revert the mission of our forum. Our forum is explicit in its direction. Presidency to South. Point 1. And PDP has keyed into that agitation. And others are already keying. The coalition you talk about, the Northern coalition you talk about, we are in partnership. The partnership, when this is done, is together, all of us in opposition political party, we still have a consensus to say, His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, former Vice President of Nigeria, can you give this coalition your blessing so that we produce a Southern candidate?
Are you gagging the
vice president? For instance, he belongs to the PDP. And the PDP, the political party he belongs to, has already zoned the 2027 president to South. Are you with me, ma? So except if His Excellency,
he has the right to join any other group, but
establish in the camps. It is binding on him. The decision of the NEC of PDP. Are you with me? To zone presidency, that already excluded Atiku and every northerner from 2027 presidency in PDP. Are you with me? So, which means...
And in Labour Party?
No, we are coming to that. Of course, Labour Party's ticket is in southern Nigeria. It's not contestable.
SDP?
Well, I can't speak for SDP. I can only speak for two parties in Nigeria today because the PDP already made it public. So I can talk authoritatively with records.
Even some leaders in the APC came, I think they call themselves Kakos or what? They came together to say they have endorsed President Tinubu for a second term. That is so that they have also yielded towards...
Yes, to a large extent, you and I know, yeah, because President Tinubu is the incumbent, it will be almost impossible to take the ticket from him. So because they've not authoritative, so we can agree now that the APC president ticket is the South because of President Tinubu. But even though, like he said, it's a common public information, Kakusis have been making that statement, adopting him as their consensus candidate. So let us adopt him as APC. Are you getting it? So it means already in the South. PDP is already in the South. Labour Party's own is in the South. It's not in this. We are in the South because, like I say, remember, we are Labour. We are not just Labour Party men. We are Labour leaders. So the Labour movement in Nigeria that encompasses the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress, these are the owners of the Labour Party. The position, this is the position, is for southern Nigeria. Are you with me? Now, the Labour Party, which is their own political party, this is the position of the party, is in what? Southern Nigeria. If you look at what's happening in the Labour Party now, the Labour Party structure of the national chairman is already in northern Nigeria in the name of Senator Eze O. Usman. Julius Abure is gone. So, what you are seeing Labour Party playing out already is already the policy direction of the political party called Labour Party, whose national chairman is already in northern Nigeria in the name of Senator Eze O. Usman, for which presidential candidate will be sound damaged. Are you saying the politics playing out already? Clear. So, but like I say, it will not foreclose anybody from not contesting primaries, but first is in southern Nigeria. Next is microzoning. Now, all of these 18 parties, look at what will happen in the final analysis of this discussion. The coalition which we belong to, which we are forming, which we are building, we adopt one man. Are you getting it?
And that man
Out of these 17,
would be from which zone?
yes. So by the time they are adopting that, it will now be clear to Nigeria that the coalition of political parties in Nigeria first have ceded their presidential ticket to southern Nigeria. 17 parties, more or less. 2, we have zeroed in on Mr. A. So when they zero A, it will be clear which region, are you getting it, is Mr. A from. Let's agree they zero on Ms. Peter Obi, which is most likely, yes. Where is it from? It's from Southeast. So it will now be that the coalition political parties in Nigeria have adopted Southern presidency. Are you getting it? And have microzone to Southeast. And the preferred candidate by the people, are you getting it, is Peter Obi. So it now becomes Peter Obi, the coalition candidate,
Against the
others.
Well, as we wind down on this,
We now go and vote for many factors, like we say, which will now be clearer in that. Part of those factors will now be President Tinubu that had the privilege now. Are you getting it? Were you able to now allay the fears of Nigeria to, are you getting it to now be entitled to their trust? So we can now vote for it because we are now beginning to see what.
Well, as we wind down on this conversation, and I would end the conversation with Comrade Splendour. In utmost sincerity, now, not as a party man, not as a former governorship candidate, but first as a Nigerian. Sincerely, what should Nigerians be looking out for?
Nigerians have suffered in the hands of this government. Nigerians cannot feed 3 good square meals a day. If you go to our various markets, the price of commodity has skyrocketed, and the money running after it is not equal to the price of the commodity, which means we are in serious penury. So Nigerians should be looking at that leader that can revise the trend. Nigerians should be looking at that leader that can bring security back to where it was. There was a time in this country, let's say in the 1980s to 1990s, where you can travel on the road without fear of molestation, without fear of being kidnapped. But now, like you say, I should be sincere about it. Let me put the question back to you. Can you comfortably travel in Nigeria roads without being afraid of being kidnapped?
Well, when you look at the media space, there's been a lot of reports on insecurity in Nigeria.
That's what we're talking about. Look at what happened in Benue State. Look at what is happening in northern part of the country. We are looking at a leader, a president that can come. Let me also be very frank with you that the reason for this insecurity in this country, for me, I think, is basically on the economic, situation. People are hungry, and when you are hungry, you don't have job to do. Like the other day says, an idle man is a devil's man workshop. You begin to think something negative. But when you are engaged, when you are doing something meaningful, something productive, you will think less of evil. So what I'm saying in essence is that Nigerians have tried the old system. Nigeria to 2027 should look at the new system.
And the new system will be driven by one man.
And the new system...
And what political party should that man be? Given that as of today, the only political party that is not visibly in crisis is the APC.
And Labour.
Yes, the LJE is in crisis.
Labour Party.
Labour Party still remains in crisis.
No.
The APC, the PDP is in crisis.
No, Labour Party is not in crisis.
When was the crisis in Labour Party resolved?
The only crisis in Labour Party was leadership, which has been resolved by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has came up with a judgment which is explicit that the illegal tenure of Julius Abure has ended. And then the party, the stakeholders of the party, if you can recall, in Umahia, I was there, where the stakeholders came. His Excellency Peter Obi was there. His Excellency Alex Oti was there. And other stakeholders of the party, where Senator Nanadi Usman was appointed as the acting chairman of Labour Party. Then Senator Daliti Mukocha was appointed as the secretary to Labour Party. And they have a mandate. That mandate is conduct congresses from one level, local government level, to state level, that will culminate to national convention. And that is what we are in now. So the era of the destruction orchestrated by Julius Abure is gone. So the crisis we had before was Abure trying to distract the leadership until the litigation came to an end that sacked Julius Abure.
So in Anambra states, the issues surrounding candidacy has also been resolved.
Yes, of course. If a leadership, let's assume Barrister Julius Abure, because before he conducted primary in Anambra State, the Supreme Court had already sacked. So he had no locus to conduct primaries.
So we must end this conversation.
So while we end the conversation, please take it home that Labour Party is good. Thank you.
Well, this is where we'll call it a day on today's edition of Leadership Dialogue Podcast. It's been an interesting conversation, of course, with Comrade Anslem Eragbe, a former youth leader of Labour Party and a publicity secretary of South North Patriotic Forum. Well, he was also joined in the studio here with Comrade Eze O, Splendour, a former governorship candidate of Labour Party of Wayne State in 2023. governorship elections. He is also the Southeast chairman of the South North Patriotic Forum. Well, the conversation continues on our social media handles, pages, of course, and the handle still remains at LJE Nigeria on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and as well as TikTok. My name is Chikonata Billy, and of course, we'll see you again. Bye.